Hi. So what's happening, everyone? Well, it's fucking tough. Yeah, things are tough in the business world at the moment. There is not much work going on. Some refer to the supply chain issues, la-di-da. But the thing is that over-distribution, like the manufacturing and production cycles, had been put on hold for many, many months, right? So now they slowly restarting. But it means that all, the advisors and basically all the economy is just going back into swing. While of course the governments, which are super indebted, have stopped all the grants and furlough schemes and stuff like that. So it means that there is a gap between the moment where all these subsidies and help and stuff and grants have stopped and the moment where you can actually make a living, which is probably 6 or 7 months down the line, because at the moment distribution cycle is slowly restarting. So it's an absolute disaster. And probably I think that things are still going to be very slow and difficult up until mid-2022. I mean, I really hope for the best and that things are going to get back into full swing way before, but it's not looking great, is it? Also, there is definitely a battle of power at the moment, like a power struggle going on with all these fucking stupid governments and institutions which think that they have the upper hand and that they can dictate the way people should live and how to live, on and on, as if they were a total autocratic organization. And that is just not working at all. And it never worked, but at least during the pandemic, there was the rationale, there was the justification that everybody had to have his or her decks in a row because, otherwise they could get infected with COVID. So therefore, curfew at, 6 p.m. and having to wear masks in the street, etc., etc. But the problem is that the penny has not dropped, and governments and institutions around the world still think that they can actually, have this sort of dictatorship going on, while there's no more justification for health and safety reasons. And moreover, as I'm sure you know, there are lots of basically scandals breaking out, such as the scandal on the Pandora Papers, which show that some massive law firms and accountancy firms and the tax havens are making an absolute fortune and industry out of this money laundering and stashing money in tax havens business. And also there are scandals in the church, in the Catholic Church, for example, in France, but also, in the governments in the UK, where we've learned that there are many donors. I mean, this was so obvious, but there are so many lovers of the Tory party, of the Conservative Party, who are actually money launderers and tax evaders. So basically, there aren't any justifications for these fucking governments and institutions and powers in place to actually have any gravitas and any reason to dictate their own will on the people, because not only is it no longer justified for health and safety reasons, but also they don't have any credibility, right? They just created and sustained a system whereby there's a lot of perversion, there's a lot of people who are perverted and dishonest, and who benefit from the system to the tilt, and are never being held accountable for this, or at least it's very difficult to make them accountable. And this means that the people is getting more and more annoyed, more and more aggravated by all these injustices which are around them, and I think that some change is needed. So to actually purify the system, clean it, and there needs to be a purge. There needs to be a purge. There needs to be a change of paradigm in terms of how the system is set up in place, who takes decisions, how decisions are taken, and I don't know yet what's going to come out of that. But what I know is that the current systems are not working. The UK, if we let the UK and the Tories have their way, this is definitely going to become a tax haven. I mean, it's already, most of the Pandora Papers revelations show that actually London and some other places in the UK are basically where all the tax evaders put their money, right? Because they want to invest in the real estate and have lots of real estate in the UK. There's also in France, in Paris in particular, and the French Riviera, but the UK is just, flush with tax evaders who own the biggest properties on the land, the freeholds in London in particular. So the point I'm trying to come across is that I know people are dissatisfied, and I know in particular myself, I am because I just this pressure from the systems, the powers in place, which are so behind the times, which do not understand what is at stake now, and just are basically having this autocratic attitude just to impress upon everyone, including me, that they are basically at the top of a tree, and you have to do what they say. Like a sort of top-down approach. And they just don't understand that this is over. You can't rule like that. You can't manage like this anymore, and you are accountable. And they don't want to be held accountable. So I think that a lot of people, including myself, are getting extremely pissed off with the status quo at the moment and want some change. So I don't know how to make this work better. But I know this is not working anymore. This system is not working. I mean, you want an example? I'm going to give you an example. For the last 2 years, I had claims after complaints from the Paris bar of l'Ordre des Avocats de Paris against myself and against our law firm for complete. For reasons which were nothing. Every time it's based on nothing. It's just to stunt us, to stop us, to put us down, to set us up. Literally, we've been set up. In particular, during the month of from January up until May 2021, I was unable to come back to France, from London, from our office in London, our Crefovi office in London, because of the lockdowns. And it wasn't possible for health and safety reasons, it wasn't possible to travel, except if you had a reason which was extremely urgent and serious, such as, a death or a very serious illness, etc. But I didn't have all that stuff. And also I needed to have a negative COVID test, obviously, to travel. And I couldn't get a negative COVID test for reasons I'm not going to get into, but I couldn't get it. So I could not travel. And during this time, the Paris bar, and in particular the bâtonnier, Olivier Cousy, who is a competitor, he's an entertainment lawyer, and he's a partner in the law firm where I used to work when I was a French lawyer, which is Gilles Lorette-Nouel. When I left Gilles Lorette-Nouel in 2003, I didn't live in good terms, okay? So I had some, clear and in no uncertain terms, let them know that they attitude was disastrous, the way they treated their associates was disastrous, and I told them in no uncertain terms what I thought of them. Okay, so the departure back in 2003 was not amicable. But we settled it though. So, but it was not amicable, the parting. Anyway, so this guy who is a partner in this law firm, Gilles Noiret-Noël, and who is a competitor because he works a lot in intellectual property, in entertainment. He's only a French lawyer. I'm dual qualified. I'm a French lawyer with a Paris bar, like he is, Crefovi, and I'm also a solicitor of England and Wales. And this guy who's been the bâtonnier, so the sort of head of the lawyers from the Paris bar for the last 2 years, up until the 31st of December 2021, he's been doing my head in constantly, him and his team of crazy bastards from the Paris bar who have nothing else to do because, of course, we're in a pandemic, so they don't have any work. So what do? Well, they try to piss off their competitors, that they want to get down. So in the last 2 years, we had claims after claims and and ethical claims, and now they want to do a tax control and Crefovi. Why they want to that the equivalent of the HMRC, the French tax administration, wants to have a tax control on Crefovi. That I can understand, and in fact we had one back in 2000. I think it was 2016, 2017, which went on perfectly well. Everything was fine. They told us we were doing everything by the book. So that was great. We had a tax control by the French tax administration. That I can understand. But that the French bar is asking us for a tax tax control and control of all our books and all our ledgers. What the fuck? And so this is what we have to contend with at the moment. I mean, I'm also a member of the Solicitors Regulation Authority in England and Wales, because, as I said, I'm a solicitor of England and Wales. And they're cool. I mean, they leave us do our work, and they let us work, and they're just not, crazy bastards like this. But in France, in particular with the Paris bar, I mean, I am on the verge of actually filing a criminal claim for discrimination, harassment, libel against the Paris bar, Olivier Cousy, and his team of cronies and minions, because this is becoming unbearable. How can we work when you've got these crazy people always on your back and always, filing claim after claim and trying to basically stop you from working? Right? And it's just unbelievable, this discrimination, as a woman in the legal industry, in the French lawyer industry, as a business lawyer and a high-profile litigator, which I am. This discrimination is just unacceptable. So anyway, this is an example of what we have to contend with the powers in place at the moment, who have no justification of being, because frankly, a lot of lawyers with the Paris bar are. I mean, I wouldn't say that they are crooks, but there are definitely some crooks. Like, for example, the French Ministry of Justice, Éric Dupond-Moretti, has been indicted just before the holiday in July 2021, by the French judges, because he's got lots of conflicts of interest. And as soon as he was elected to the post of Ministre de la Justice, so Justice Minister, he started to go after all the judges who, during his time as a lawyer, were creating problems with him in the various legal cases that he was working on. I mean, this is a massive conflict of interest, right? If you are pursuing the individuals who pissed you off in your previous career as a lawyer, when you become the Ministry of Justice, the Minister of Justice. So there's, as I said, lots of conflict of interest, lots of things which are not said, a lot of power struggle going on at the moment, a lot of injustice going on, and I'm not going to take it anymore. This is it. I warned them twice already that I will file a criminal complaints actually against the Paris bar and against this team of crazy bastards, and I'm going to do it. So, and also you have to, do some marketing, you have to manage your law firm. It's heavy. It's really heavy. And, but it is what it is. You have to do what you have to do. So I know that probably in your own life, you have some struggles like this at the moment. Things are tough as well. I've just given you a personal example, but I'm sure you can relate to what I said, and I'm sure you know that there are issues and things that you find unjust and which have been going on for too long. So I wish you the best to actually resolve these issues, and I think these months of October, November, December are going to be the moments where you actually really do need to face these issues and try as much as possible to resolve them, because enough is enough, and each one of us is basically has to actually do something about it. It's no longer the time to actually bury your head in the sand. I mean, I've never had this attitude myself anyway. I never bury my head in the sand. If anything, I'm too hyper realistic. Ow! I'm being eaten by a dog. So I wish you the best, because it's tough times. I don't know where we're going through this, tough grinding karma. I have no fucking clue why I'm going through such tough grinding karma myself. I mean, I'm speaking to all my girlfriends, around me, and they're like, oh yeah, life is nice. So they are either unemployed or they work for the public sector, which of course helps. But you don't have any fucking karma if you do these sort of things. No, I'm joking. But what I mean is that basically you take less risk than an entrepreneur, lawyer like myself. But I'm like, why the fuck am I getting all this karma? Why life is so tough for me while all these girlfriends are having, their sugar daddies looking after them, the nanny states looking after them. What the fuck? Why is it so tough, to be an entrepreneur who is thorough and rigorous, and a lawyer who wants to get results? Why is it so hard? Why am I ruffling so many feathers by being an honest, hardworking, and rigorous lawyer? It's incredible. It shouldn't be like this. Anyway, I'm going to immigrate to America, where I think in the US, where I think they are looking for this kind of types like me. In fact, in due course, I will take the California bar, which I want to prepare and stuff. So, as I've always said, I want to open a third office in Los Angeles in due course. And I think this is going to be a good fit for me, because frankly I can't stand France. I've never stood France. I mean, most of my time, as I'm sure you know, I spend in the UK, in London anyway, because they just leave me be. They just let me be what I am, and let me be free to do what I have to do, which is most of the time work, but let me have my own initiative and do my stuff. In France it's impossible. This fucking country is just neutering me every time I come here, and I can't stand it. Anyway, and it's tough because I've been grounded in France for the last 3 months and a half, so I can feel this sort of prison feeling even more, because I have to stay grounded in Nice at the moment to resolve some issues in my property there, in my flat. I mean, hopefully they're going to be resolved in due course, but it's tough to stay in France for 3-4 months for me. I mean, it's just not tough, actually, it's unbearable. So hopefully I'll be back to London after the shit has hit the fan, as we say, in October, November. And I really look forward to that time when I can go back home to St. John's Wood in London. But yeah, in the meantime, hang in there, work hard, bite the bullet, and just fucking, as they say. What's the expression again? I think it's chill and I can't remember the impression, but you basically just bite the bullet, do the work, be in the process, manage the process, because that's all you have control on, the process, making sure that the process is done well, you manage the legal cases well, and etc. This is what you have control on. You don't have any control on the outcome, but making sure that you manage your process and you prepare your case as much and as well as possible is the best you can do. And so that is what I'm going to do, and bite the bullet and do all these things with a lot of courage, a lot of energy, a lot of focus for the next month and a half. And I urge you to do the same, because it's going to get tougher even. Okay, bye guys.